Next question. There's one up here. And we have one in the front row after that.
Okay. Given the recent horrendous events that have happened in Sudan, as president, what would you do to support popular democratic movements in other countries?
Well, that is one of the challenges of any philosophy of foreign diplomacy. And if I was going to have a doctrine, and I'd be the first to say as someone who's, I've gone to, the Aspen Security Group, and I've, taken seminars at the Woodrow Wilson Institute in Washington. I know who the players are. I know basically what the prevailing theories are, but I wouldn't call myself ready to create a doctrine. But if I was, I would create a doctrine of full security and constant engagement. And when you're talking about the economic situations that lead to situations like what we see in Sudan, because it is almost always some sort of economic catastrophe that drives people to those kinds of unthinkable acts. By constant engagement, we begin to look at the root causes of the major migrations that we see in the world. I would argue that even as we, in the United States on our southern border, we go to alleviate the humanitarian crisis on the southern border, we should also go back and begin investing again, which we stopped. We reduced it several years ago, and for the last couple of years, we've eliminated funding to what they call the Northern Triangle, right? Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. We need to put more economic development there to reduce the humanitarian or the economic despair that's driving so many refugees to leave their homes and their countries and take tremendous risks to try and find asylum in the United States. The Sudan is no different in terms of the circumstances. Constant engagement allows us to do a much better job of working with our foreign allies and countries we'd like to become allies with, and making sure that we are providing the resources where they do the most good. And if you think about it, in terms of things like climate change we were just talking about, what we do in the United States is important for creating best practices. But whatever we do here has got to be rolled out in China and India and Indonesia and all across the world. So we need that constant engagement to make sure that everyone is addressing climate change globally. Same thing with cybersecurity, where we don't have any protocols and there's so much risk around cyber attacks. Also around public health pandemics, right? Like Ebola. If we don't have constant engagement, we are at risk that we will not get the information out and make sure that we isolate massive outbreaks of serious pandemics, isolate them before they can spread. So I look at this all kind of tied together, not just in what you see in one isolated incident, has to be addressed by an overall policy.